Hi, Andrew.
Hey, Jen, what's happening?
Not much. How are you?
I'm good.
Looks like you're in your studio. Looks nice.
Oh, good.
Is it a home studio?
Yeah, it's in the basement of my home here. Yeah, in Nashville.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I
Yeah,
miss Nashville. I went there a few years back, and I was really bummed to hear that Hog Heaven, a barbecue joint, closed down last year.
I've heard of it. I've never eaten at it though.
The food was so good.
Yeah,
I
cool.
was
Yeah,
hoping to go back this year, but coronavirus, and then turns out the place closed down.
yeah. Oh, bummer.
Yeah, how's everything going over there?
We're good, man. We're good. We're just, trying to survive just like everyone else in this
Exactly.
weirdo time.
Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about your latest song, No More Violations. As you can see, I have the video up there.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
really love
Cool.
the video. Can you talk a little bit about the concept?
Yeah. So, it's interesting because we were up against, like, are we going to release this song or are we going to release another song we have called Don't Blame Me? And we really wanted to reserve like bigger production, bigger budget. um, I've got a buddy who works for CMT here in Nashville that has got a lot of really great connections, so we were really juggling with the idea of, like, are we going to do one ourselves or are we going to have like a big team behind it, and that was going to dictate what song we released. So we decided, hey, you know because of the times and because our drummer now lives in San Diego,
Hmm.
which was making logistics very difficult, we were like, let's just do another self-directed video and kind of go from there, right? So we didn't know what to do, and I don't know if you've seen our first single, which is Punching Bag.
Yeah,
um, but so far we have yet to make any kind of like formal appearance as a band in either video because we're simply not together. We're separated, so um, but long story short, you know, we were like, what are we gonna do? We can't do like the typical, performance video. And so I bounced the idea off Michael. Michael was supposed to join us. I don't know. Why he's not here. But Michael's our bass player, and I bounced the idea off of him of, like, what if we just had somebody literally putting a puzzle together the entire time? So the whole concept was, let's shoot a video that's like basically about nothing.
keeps an element of mystery.
Yeah. And so then he bounced back with the idea of, like, what if you and I are playing some kind of board game throughout the whole video? And I'm like, okay. And then he bounced back again with the idea of, what if we wear a mask because we've yet to reveal ourselves as, band members yet, as a band, if you will. Um, and so that's kind of like what birthed the whole concept of what we did. So we also thought, like, as we continue to talk, like, we were like, this could be really interesting, the mask, because of what we're kind of all going through right now with COVID-19. and
That's
and
true.
we all have this sense of, like, we're kind of losing our minds. So we thought that was kind of like an interesting play on it. So there's a lot of metaphors there if you really want to dig deep. I mean, there's some metaphors for COVID-19. There's some metaphors for what's going on politically in our country right now, if you want to dig deeper. So yeah, I mean, that was initially the concept of it all.
Yeah, I mean, now that you mention it, the board game. Oh, looks like Michael has just entered the waiting room, so
Oh,
I'll
cool.
invite him.
And we can let him chime in too. On it, because actually, I got to give all the credit to Michael. I mean, Michael is really he's like the brains behind all our video stuff. He's brilliant. He's got the equipment and he loves it. And we would not be in good shape without Michael.
Hello, Michael.
How's it going?
What's
There he
going
is.
on? Oh, that's
Good.
quite the collection.
Thank you.
How do you decide which one to play?
Oh, whichever one is the sparkliest. That's the
They all look
change.
sparkly. Yeah, we were just chatting about the latest music video for No More Violations and about the concept. I don't know if you want to chime in on what your thoughts behind the meaning of the video is.
Sure. That what did you guys come up with?
Well, I explained to Jen, Michael, just about how like the kind of the premise on both of the videos we've made so far is simply the fact that we're like not all in the same city right now. Our drummer lives in San Diego, so it's made it really difficult to shoot full performance videos.
Mm-hmm.
And then I told her about the idea of how I approached you and said, hey, what if we just, you know, did this ridiculous video that meant absolutely nothing? And what if it was just a person like putting a puzzle together the entire time? And then I think it was you that came back to me and said, what if you and I were both playing a board game and we were both wearing masks? So that's what I remember. Is that what you remember kind of happening?
Yeah.
And kind of how it all started?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, trying to come up with an idea that will create 3 minutes of interesting visual content for someone to go through while they listen to the song, but to do it in a way where we don't have to have a full performance video living in different locations. And so kind of off the some of the feedback from our first video that we got, we decided it would be fun to make a video that is absolutely meaningless, but to leave the opportunity in there for there to be a lot of interpretation, so that someone might say, oh, this video is clearly about this, this, and this, and that is perfectly fine if they want to infer that, but we are implying nothing. And that's kind of the idea behind the video, is it is really, it is meaningless.
Yeah, you know, what I took away from it is, you know, playing the board game requires strategy. And, you know, in today's world, we have to strategize, you know, how we're going to maneuver through COVID-19 right now.
Absolutely. So, and so with what we did, like we tried to make it as open-ended as possible so that you could go down any sort of rabbit hole with enough justification behind any one particular reason and convince someone that's what this video is about. So it's kind of, it's a little bit about the mystery of what do you think it is about. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That makes it more fun, you know, to come up with your own interpretation. I like that.
It's like the choose your own ending books.
I love those. I was a big fan of those.
Yeah.
And you worked with Patrick Thrasher on the song. What was that experience like?
So I live in an area called Leapers Fork, which is it's like about 45 minutes southwest of downtown Nashville, out in the country. It's actually kind of an outer suburb of Franklin, Tennessee. And Patrick is just an unbelievable talent. And I actually met him 6 years ago, I believe, because he wanted guitar lessons for his daughter. And so I've been teaching guitar lessons privately here in Nashville for almost 20 years. And that's how I met him originally. And then come to find out, he's this hotshot mixing engineer that has done everything from hard rock and a lot of the stuff in the mid to late 90s in LA, and has now been here 15 years or so, and has done a lot of country stuff now. So it was just a really cool crossing and a timing thing, and we connected, and next thing I know, you know, I'm like, hey, it's a song, man. So that's kind of how it all came about.
Really cool. Yeah, I think it definitely was a success working with him. I think it really brought out the sound that you guys, were going for. Well, at
Sure.
least reading, that you're trying to combine, 70s with 90s. And yeah, I definitely hear it in the latest song.
Cool. Yeah, it's so hard to I find it difficult to mix your own music. It's kind of like when you hear yourself talking on an answer machine. It's like I feel the same way when I hear my voice when I'm singing. It's like I have the hardest time pushing the fader up, and it's good to have that, that objective ear too, that just to get fresh ears on it. So yeah, it was a good experience for sure.
Very cool. And, talking a little bit about your influences, from Black Sabbath to Soundgarden, what was it about these bands that really resonated with you?
Michael, you want to take that, or you want me to take it?
Sure. I can at least tell my part. So like Soundgarden and Black Sabbath, both of those, I would say full on is the voice. So I mean, Black Sabbath is a band, it is a collaboration. Soundgarden, it is a band, it is a collaboration. But Ozzy makes Black Sabbath sound like Black Sabbath. Chris Cornell makes Soundgarden sound like Soundgarden. And both of those voices occupy a really similar space, even though they're stylistically very different. Like it's certainly a juxtaposition. Black Sabbath and Soundgarden, very different genres, but both of their voices just kind of that high, soaring over the top of the melody, almost in the same way I would lump Kansas or Boston into those categories, as well as Chicago. All of the band names that are city names,
Right.
all of those kind of have that. It's this voice going over the top, and the arrangement under it is fantastic, but it's all support to that. And I think both of those bands, Black Sabbath and Soundgarden, do an amazing job of pushing a vocal out front that is very, very melodic, but making sure the construction that's under it is very, very purposeful and articulate, to create a very nice sound bed for that voice.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when I think about it, a lot of the bands that are now considered classic rock, they had a very distinctive sound. Like when you hear their song, you're like, oh, that's that band. How hard is it, do you think, today to come up with your own distinctive sound?
I think to me, it feels impossible. I feel like I make a strong effort. I know when I'm trying to write a song to channel something, hopefully that is, is genuine and honest, and however it comes out is how it comes out. I think if I sit around and I worry about trying to create something that's never been created, I don't think I would ever write or ever put anything out, and I think it's important that really every artist recognize who their influences are, recognize who they think they sound like and who their fans think they sound like, and honor that, because we're all drawing from something. And I just think it's important that, well, for me personally, to listen a lot to a lot of different things, because hopefully in time the sum of all those things you listen to are going to become hopefully your own voice when you put something out.
Yeah, that's true. Like even Led Zeppelin, they borrowed a lot from a lot of blues and soul
if you go back
music.
and Led Zeppelin 1 and 2, it's dead up Robert Johnson songs just with the amps turned up, and they'll admit it. They admit it that like these are blatant, reinterpretations of these songs. So yeah, everything's coming from somewhere.
That's true. Well, So I wanted to talk a little bit more about what you guys have coming up. Can we anticipate more singles, music videos? What you guys have planned?
So, just to give you a little back history on the band, first of all, we've never played a show. We've never performed live yet. And a lot of this has to do with really COVID.
That's true.
So, I mean, the group formed in 2017, and it was myself and Simona Bresci on drums. And we had a different bass player at the time. And the sound that we were doing then was much more, I would call it more of a classic rock kind of vibe, in that, you know, you might hear elements of Cream, you might hear elements of Deep Purple, elements of Free or Mountain, like some of those late 60s bands that were really heavy at the time. And it wasn't really until Michael came into the band that the sound shifted. And it was really interesting, because as we, you know, went into the studio and would rehearse and write tunes, the sound just got heavier and heavier and heavier. And so we ended up leaving behind, you know, a couple of tunes on this record, hoping we put it out, you know, and the sound just evolved into something much heavier. But to answer your question, yeah, so we started in 2017. Michael came in on board around late 2017, 2018, and the whole idea was, hey, let's make a great record. Let's take our time, like really crafting the songs, and make a great record, and then hopefully, you know, we'll get somebody behind it, or we'll put it out independently and go out there and do it. And we finished the record like late 2019, and boom, you know, COVID-19 hit, and it was just like no
Plans are on
shows.
hold.
Yeah, so yeah, I think we've been just like any other band during this time. It's like, okay, what do we do? You know, we're a brand new band. We need to launch, to at least put ourselves out there. And that started the whole idea of just putting singles out and making videos. So I don't really know what the future holds at this point. I mean, we're sitting on an album that we're so eager to put out to the world, you know, but it's got to be the right time, you know.
Yeah, and I heard, I don't know the full details, but a lot of people are telling me that Facebook is, as of October 1st, they're going to stop allowing live streaming, for bands to stop live streaming. I don't know the full details on that, but.
Just read that like 10 minutes before we went live here on Zoom. Like, yeah, so that's, I mean, go figure. I don't know.
It's like another nail in the coffin. Yeah, but I guess it's requiring a lot of people to be creative and, you know, find ways around the whole situation.
Yeah, I think it's with any business now. It's like, now is the time to innovate, you know, and if you don't, like, you may not make it, you know. So, I mean, I think, you know, for us, it's, for me and for our band, it's just so important that we make strong connections with people, and I think that, I hope we're doing that, and that's why we continue to put the singles out, because, you know, I want to keep people engaged. I want people, you know, coming back for more, and hopefully connecting on an emotional level with what we're doing, you know.
Absolutely. Well, you know, hypothetically speaking, you know, if you were to go out on tour and add yourself to a dream bill, who would you want to perform alongside? Both of you.
Michael?
I was gonna say you first. I gotta think.
So when you say dream bill, are you saying like just any band in the world we could play with, or like I don't know, could you maybe rephrase the question? Like,
sure, yeah, if like any band, yeah, that you would love to you know, go on tour with.
that's a tough.
For me, I'd say it wouldn't make any sense at all, but I'd love to open for James Taylor on a tour.
Oh wow.
Just
That's a
have him playing, and then and then us opening. I think not that it would work, not that the same people would like the same thing, but because I think it would be a ton of fun.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans would be like, "Are we at the right concert?"
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a really tough question. Because I have so many artists that I love, you know.
I guess it could turn to a festival, a rock music festival.
I mean, if we're gonna speak in terms of like what would make sense from a musical standpoint, right? Like another band that I would love to play with that would have the same fans, right? The same type of fans. So there's a local band here. I guess they say they're from here, and I guess they're based here, but they're called All Them Witches. I think they are a fantastic band. And I didn't really get on the train with what they were doing until like their third or fourth record. So they've been around for, I don't know, 8-9 years now. But it's just a real testament to the fact that it's not just country here in Nashville. There's really other stuff going on. But you know, they're really cool, and they just dropped a new record like a week ago or so, and they cut that record at Abbey Road Studios. So they're doing something right.
What is the name again?
All Them Witches.
All of Them Witches. Okay.
Yeah, I really like them. I think we would pair well with them. I think their fans probably would like what we do. You're in Boston, right?
Yeah. Yep. Based out of Boston.
There's a band out of Boston that is kind of on the rise that I love called Sundrifter. Have you ever heard of them?
I've heard of them. Yeah.
I love those guys.
They're kind of like prog rock, right?
No, to me, they're more of like a really, really heavier version of Queens of the Stone Age. But I just think they're so cool. I love them, and they're a power trio, and yeah, I think that they would be a cool band to play.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of them. Can't remember if I've seen them or not, but I've definitely seen their name around.
I know they've got 2 albums out, and the last record they put out with Small Stone Records, which is out of Detroit. So I think they had a little bit of momentum. I think that record came out in 2019 or late 2018. So yeah, and then of course they got shafted too with COVID, you know, right when they were getting their momentum going, you know. So yeah, I mean that's 2 bands if I can think of that are current, modern, fairly new.
That would make sense.
Would fall into a similar genre with us, you know.
That'd be really cool. Yeah, I hope that, you know, this ends soon so that, you know, we can see you guys perform together on the East Coast.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think so.
Well, going the opposite way, what is the most memorable concert that you ever attended?
Michael, you want to take it? Michael, you want to take this one?
Sure. The most memorable concert. I guess the one that's popping out in my mind the most right now is seeing, could have been like 2012, 11 or 12, was seeing Alison Krauss and Union Station. That's one of my favorite bands, and you know, one of the most amazing sounding live bands there is. Jerry Douglas on dobro is, I mean, that will rival any electric guitar legend for sure, just in a very different style of music. That may have been one of my favorite shows I've seen.
Nice. I've never seen them live, but you know, what makes a good concert for you? Is it the energy or just, you know, the sound?
For me, a lot of it is the mix. You know, some bands sound great live because their instrumentation allows them to be heard well. I like a concert to sound good. That's what I think. Stadium shows are just a terrible idea because it never really sounds good, and you walk away with a headache. So for live music, I think it's difficult for I'd say like even a band like us. It's difficult to get it to sound as pleasing to the ears as the album does. So most of my favorite things to see live would be much more on the acoustic side, because that's something that you actually can experience well in a live setting.
That is true. Yeah, actually, in New York City, there's a venue called the Iridium, and it's very intimate. I don't know if you've been there before, but
Heard of it, yeah.
yeah, you can dine while you're watching the show, which makes it super intimate. And I mean, you're very close to other people, but it's definitely a different experience from, seeing someone in, like you said, a stadium with 20,000 other people.
Sure.
I think for me, my most memorable concerts are a little different because they were more based on being more influential to me as a musician. I can remember seeing B.B. King in like '92, and at the time I would have been around 13 or so, showing my age here. But yeah, I grew up in Northeast Mississippi, and there's a little town about 45 minutes from where I grew up called Tupelo. And every year they have a festival there called Holy Pot. They just spell it backwards. But yeah, B.B. King played there, and I had a friend of mine take me, and it just absolutely blew my mind. Like, and it just had to, like kind of what you were saying, it had to do with the energy and just the rawness of it. And I mean, this was back when he was younger and healthy, so he was not sitting, he was standing, and it just had it going on.
A legend, yeah.
It was
That
just
must have been amazing.
yeah. So that's one for me. Another one is my mom and dad took me, this would have been like 2010 maybe, 2011. I can't remember the year exactly, sorry, but it was Paul McCartney.
Wow.
My parents took me to Paul McCartney, and that was cool, like experiencing that show, not only with them, because they grew up with the Beatles,
Right,
they were,
yeah.
but what was so neat about that concert and just electrifying was, I mean, the age range was like age 7 to 80, and every walk of life, and it was something special to be a part of, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, I guess that really goes to show, how much the Beatles influenced so many different generations.
But that made a big impact on me, just those two shows, I would say, were probably the most memorable.
Very cool. Well, before we wrap up, is there anything else that you want to mention about the band?
Michael?
We're changing the name to Michael and the other guys. That's the new name
Andrew
coming
know
out
about
on the next
this?
single.
Andrew, are you on board with that?
We're not to discuss that. Behind closed doors. No, I don't know. I mean, I'm so eager to get this music out there, and we're at such a weird crossroads right now, because it's like, do we put another single out? Do we release another video? When is the right time to do it? So I don't know what's in store at this point for us or where we're going next. This time will tell.
Yeah, just got to take it day by day.
Exactly. Yeah.
But there will certainly be some sort of, single that we're pushing. I'd say within. You'll hear something more from us in 2020. but the speed at which we start releasing things, that's still the to be determined.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, that seems to be the answer with a lot of people. So, um, sometimes the suspense and the wait is worth it. So,
Yeah,
Hopefully.
I have to say, I'm really enjoying your latest release, No More Violations. It's a really great song, very catchy, but it also has that heaviness to it. So,
Yeah, very cool.
Thank you. That one, I think that was the last song we added onto the record. It almost didn't make it. And then we ended up cutting it on our last day in the studio and liking what we got.
Yeah.
So we made it.
It made it.
I forgot that was one of the last songs we cut. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was a very unarranged at the time when we started working on it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's strange. I can't remember who else, but I remember hearing stories where some bands said that they almost cut one of their biggest hits from the album, and they're glad they didn't because it became their biggest hit.
Yeah.
Funny how that works. It's so funny how that works, like you hear bands all the time or songwriters all the time talk about how we were thinking about not even putting the song out, period, because we didn't even think it was that good, and it ends up becoming the biggest song on the record, so go figure.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I know.
Well, I really, really appreciate the time, guys, and it was a
My
blast
pleasure.
chatting with you guys.
Thank you for the opportunity. We really appreciate it.